What is art? Art is personal but isn't always innovative and inventive. Art also the expressional of application of human creative skills and imagination, typically in visual forms such as painting and sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. For me, art is one of the personal talent, but di ni siya pwede maimbento or mabago sa laing tao. Art also is expression or feeling of human nga makagamo siya og creative skills. One of the example is painting and sculpture.
Hello everyone, good day. My name is SIRALYN ALCANO and now I am going to report about the topic, the nature of art. So, in my part, I will going to discuss nature in art and art with a purpose. So, nature in art, the exploration of nature in art can take endless forms. Why? Because nature provides us with just a vast wealth of inspiring phenomena. Nature in the broadest sense is equivalent to the natural world, physical universe, material world or material universe. And nature refers to the phenomena of the physical world and also life in general. So it means nag-refer ni siya sa tanang butangan naa sa atong palibot nga atong makita. Nag-refer po ni siya sa mga butang nga dili na to kayang himuon nga kita-kita ra. So, for example, animals, plants, insects, o sa mga landscape and geological formations like mountains and water, o sa mga natural phenomena like weather, sunset, and disasters. So, one of the example of nature in art is the landscape pastel painting by Tanea McArdle, created using Prismacolor no pastels. So, kining isang painting, makita nato sa iyang painting nga nature is both all around us and deep within us. We are inseparable from nature. Our bodies, lives, and minds depends on the air we breathe and the food we eat. O diba? From the painting, makita jud nato nga ang nature nga naa sa atong palibot, connected na sa nato. Diba? Kay kitang mga tao, nabuhi ta through nature. Ang atong kabuhian makita ra sa nature, di ba? Ang atong gikaon, ang atong ginhawag naa sa nature gagikan. So, di ba? Without the earth, without nature, what would we be? So, kung wala na sila, walay nature, why earth? O di ba? Asa man tang mga tao ibutang. Di ba? So, that's it. So, next is art with a purpose. There are many different ways to approach the subject of nature in art. So, artwork based on nature can take many forms and serve many purposes. It could be an artwork related to flowers, animals, anatomy, cells, changes, or decays. Art can open our eyes through the intricacy and beauty of the natural world. It can simply be a pretty picture that appreciates nature for what it is, or it can be a challenging piece expressing the complex of human connection to nature. Art can serve a purpose beyond being an object of beauty. It can also address pressing environment issues and topics about conservation, sustainability, preservation, biodiversity, and threatened habitats. Art has the ability to interact and educate the viewer about the issues, spreading awareness about such important topics. So, kitang mga tao, no, kung makakita ta og artworks, kanang art can open our eyes, kanang muratag maliwanagan, muratag makarealize, di ba? For example, nakakita kag artwork related to women's, di ba? Mayroon nga, dapat di ay nga ing-ana, dili dapat ing-ana, di ba? Para naman po na nato nang makuha natong information. So, kung kuan pud ta kananay magtan-aw ta sa mga like mag-surf kintay ta sa internet, di ba? Di jud nato malikiwan nga makaabot sa mga images, makita jud ta dito mga artworks nga daghang mga information nga gi-portray. For example, information about biodiversity, di ba? Daghan tang makuha ditong information nga magamit natong i-apply nato in real world. So, that is the purpose also of an art. Because an art is not just about colors or creation, it's also about giving information to the viewers or to the people, spreading awareness to the people and to everyone through the way of presenting your artworks. So, I hope that you learned something from my discussion, guys, from the nature in art and art with a purpose.
So, I'll just continue the discussion of the nature of art. Art is a signifying practice which is grounded in society and history. Art has its own specificity. Ang art ko no kay nay own meaning. If kung makakita ta ana, maghuna na ta kung unsay meaning ana nga arta, then material aspects of art signifier equal a conceptual aspect signified. Ang signifier is a signs physical form. Example ani kay drawing, a photo, or a word. Signified is the meaning or idea expressed by a sign. Ang signified kimo ni ang meaning or idea nga gi-express sa mga word or drawing. Then, the work of art is viewed in the dialogic situation of the work at its viewer. Dialogic situation kay mao ni ang conversation sa viewer og sa artist nga antahay ang viewer nangutana og unsay iyang rason kung nganong mao na iyang art nga gihimo. Then, art is not purely self-referential. Ang art kuno kay di tanan nga art nga self-referential. Sa kaugalingon jud nato kanang nagikan. Namoy uban nga sa nature sila magkuha sa ilang art. Then, artwork equal viewer or listener. Kanang dahay na ay art exhibit, then na ay mga viewer nga motan-aw sa ilang mga ginama nga art. Art as experienced by the artist and the perceiver is the crossroads where we discuss who we are, what we are, and why we preserve as human beings. Art as expression. Two levels in relation to individual and to society. Meaning making. Meaning making designates the process by which people interpret situation, events, objects, or discourses in the light of the previous knowledge and experience. Kasagaran sa ilang mga art kay nagikan sa ilang mga experience. Then, murag na motivate sila nga mo na ilang drawingon nga art. Then, express the vision one individual as one concretize or realize a concept or theme in one's mind. Artists create because there's a need to express their sentiments sa social conditions. Ang artist ko no kay naghimo ani nga art kay need pud nila nga i-express ilang emotion, feelings nga naas ilahang heart.
Arts and humanities are considered as two of the oldest fields of knowledge available to a man for a long time. Both interpret the human experience through words or non-verbal forms of expression. Kining duha gituring ni sila as duha ka knowledge nga naa sa usa ka tawo for a long time na. Gi-interpret nila ang human experience pinaagi sa words or non-verbal forms of expressions like actions or gestures. So, the question here is, what is the difference between arts and humanities? So, the difference between the two is often seen with ambiguity. Ambiguity means kalabuan or inexactness of meaning. Because arts are usually considered as part of the humanities, whereas humanities such as language are sometimes considered to be part of the arts. Art, it is a theory and physical expression which is found in culture and human society. Usa ni siya ka theory o physical expression nga makit-an sa atong kultura o sa society sa lipunan ng tao. It is considered as a form which cannot be left out and recognized as a part of education package. Ang art ay consider na nga part sa education. And it always speaks to the human experience through the creation of tangible sensory output. Ang art kuno always speak to the human experience pinaagi sa tangible outputs like paintings. It is considered as a medium to communicate with human beings about the changes that took place in the environment as time passed from ancient era to modern era with the help of sculptures, books, and pictures. Ang arts kuno kay nagsilbing medium para makakommunicate sa mga tao about sa kung unsa na ang nahitabo sa sinaunang panahon hangtod karon sa makabagong panahon. With the help of kanang sculptures, ug mga pictures and books. Have to do more with the act of creation itself like sculptures and paintings and etc. So for the humanities, Mr. De La Cuesta will discuss about it.
Humanities. It is a study of how people process and documents the human experience. It also takes into consideration with different varieties and sometimes a separate set of discipline from literature to political history. In classic terms, the humanities are academic disciplines that study aspects of human society and culture. It's true that the arts have more to do with the creation itself, whether through performance or physical production of words, while the humanities have to do more with the research and critical analysis.
The subject used in art. The term subject in arts refers to the main idea that is represented in the artwork. The subject in arts is basically the essence of the piece. To determine subject matter in a particular piece of art, you may ask yourself, what is really depicted in this artwork? In this section, we'll discuss the 4 common subjects of art, and it include the people, arrangement of sub-object, the natural world, and the abstraction. People or portraiture is one of the most popular genre for artists. People or portraiture is the arts of making portraits. People are the portraiture, portraits of people painted mana or drawn by artists. Next is arrangement of object or still life. Still life has been one of the most popular types of art. According to Charles Sterling, the father of still life studies, a true still life comes into being when a painter makes the fundamental decision to choose a group of objects as his or her subject and to arrange them in such a way to produce a coherent picture. If you want to create your own still life composition, here you will find a list of elements to consider. First is the theme. Some of the most successful still life composition are based on a theme or narrative such as storytelling. Theme is important. What works best are objects that hold meaning to you since they will create a relationship between you and your subject. Next is the variety. Gather the object you want in your still life. To create interest, choose items of varying size, shape, color, and texture. Think about how these variations work together. You want to offer the viewer interesting combinations to hold their attention. Third is the composition. Now, place this object in a setting, on a shelf, the corner of a counter, on top of a dresser, a place that is associated with your overall theme. Think about placement. Tall man or short ba? Smooth against soft, dark against light. Look at how the object overlap and intersect. Fourth is the light and shadow. Don't forget to light your subject. When you do this, you will create shadows. Shadows should be considered another element to your still life. They help to create deep and interest to the setup while the light will help illuminate your focal point. Next is the color. Just as light and shadow work together, so do warm orange, yellow, red, and cool blue, purple, and green colors work together. By placing warm and cool colors next to each other, you will create a more vibrant picture. Next is drawing and painting. Many artists use the still life composition and subject for their drawing and paintings. From here, you can make a sketch that can be transferred to canvas or paper to draw or paint. And the last is make a portfolio. Even if you do not choose to make a drawing or painting from your still life arrangement, use a camera on your smartphone or some other camera to photograph your still life and create portfolio of your creation. This is a great way to keep a record of your creativity and the things that are important to you. And that's it. Mr. Guadalupe Bungo Jr. will continue the remaining subject used in art, which is the natural world and the abstraction.
Okay, so at this point, I was just going to continue the reporting of Miss ANCLA about the subject of art. According to her, there are 4 subjects of art, namely the portrait, the still life, the natural world or the landscape, and last is the abstraction or non-object art. So, the 2 subjects of art are already discussed by Miss ANCLA. So yours truly, we're gonna continue the report for the 2 remaining of subject of art, which are the non-objective art or the abstraction and the natural world or the landscape. Okay, to begin with, let's start with the natural world of the landscape for the subject of art. So, a landscape is an artwork whose primary focusing on a natural scenery, such as mountains, forests, rivers, and or even trees. No? So, this kind of subject of arts are primarily focusing on a natural scenery, such as mountains, rivers, lakes rather. So, when we say natural, it is existing in by nature. It is not made by humankind, a creative and controlling force in the universe. No, we have a lot of means when we say in natural. No, so this kind of subject of art, which is the natural world, is primarily basically focusing on a natural world. No, kanin siya maong landscape. Siguro daghan kayo ang mipili ani nga artist when you say painting kay lagi nindot ni siya as a subject of their art. But we should naadjud adto mahulog ang atong pagka-creative creativity skills and ang ato ang pagkahanas when we are dealing in painting, when we are dealing also mao ni ang atong tema ug mao ni atong piliun nga klase sa subject na art, which is the natural world or the landscape. Okay, so let's talk to the another subject of art, which is the abstraction or the non-objective art. So non-objective art is defined by its uses of geometric shapes that suggest simplicity and purity. By using shapes, patterns, sharp edges, and often bright colors, non-objective art displays interesting and imaginative works. No? So kani kunong subject of art nga kaning gitawag nato og non-objective or non-object or abstraction is that kani gihimo siya sa pamamagitan ng mga geometric shapes. Parehas sa shapes like oblong, circle, unsa pa mga klase-klase nga shapes, patterns, sharp edges, and often bright colors, no? Kani po siya nga klase sa subject of art is displayed just for interesting and imaginative work. Dili parehas atong other subjects sa art, which is the landscape and natural world, kinaayos siya tema. Pero kani siya nga klase nga subject sa art, which is the non-objective art, is kanabitang murag wala siya tumong, pero nagsuggest siya o nagsuggest siya for being simple and justified for being purity, no? Kani siya is walay tema, walay subject, pero it's very interesting to see, no? So, often, non-objective art can look like abstract art, no? But it's very different, no? Its fundamental design is not based on reality, but simply in a form of shape and etc. No? While abstraction was imaginary and ideas from the natural world. No? So, ang pagka-different sa non-objective art o ang abstraction is that as what I told earlier, nga kaning siya nga subject of art, kung museta og non-objective art, it is just made of geometric shapes. Naa siya pattern, naa siya shapes, naa siya sharp edges, and often bright colors para maghimo siyang mas more interesting and suggest as simple and suggest as purity. When we say also abstraction, it is dealing with the imaginary and ideas coming from the natural world. No? So, kanisang abstraction is naadyo siya tema rather than sa non-objective art. Abstraction is na tema, naadyo kay motivation about sa imuang artwork. No? So, if you want to create of a non-objective art during your free time or make yourself busy and happy, you can create this kind of subject of art, which is the non-objective art for maybe for your decoration, for the home decoration or etc. So, therefore, I will give you a step on how to find when creating non-objective art for maybe for your decoration, for the home decoration or etc. So, therefore, I will give you a step on how to find when creating non-objective art. So, first, you should gather your materials, no? The materials we use especially kay kuan here is non-objective arts man, so magamit yung tag shapes, patterns, bright colors. So naa ato ang scissors, naa ato ang pencils, naa dito ang pads, naa roller colored pencils, and more materials na ma-relate ani nga non-objective art. So second is that tap on geometric shapes, no? Kamo ray mag-decide kung unsa iyong gusto nga himuon, basta kay nice po siya tan-awon, dili po ka magpataka-pataka gunting ana, dapat naapod siya look bitaw nga makasuggest po siyang being simple and purity but interesting. Now, so the third one is that follow this principle of art and design. No, we have here the balance, the color, the contrast, the emphasis, the movement, the pattern, the proportion, the repetition, the rhythm, the shape. Okay? No, we will no longer to discuss about this principle of art and design because I know that you are familiar already of it. And at the same time, it is understandable. Okay? No, so the fourth one is that secure the shape in place, no? And the last one is consider the mark making. Okay? So, I think maora to dali raman po siya sabton ang mga subjects sa art, no? So, okay, I think that will be all for the subject of art.
So, what is the medium of art? In art, medium refers to the substance the artist used to create a piece of artwork. It describes a specific type of art. Also refers to the materials which the artist uses to objectively their feelings or thoughts. So, medium of art simply means as the materials used to create a piece of artwork that can express their emotions and ideas. Before we proceed, how can you say that it is a medium? To fully understand what is medium all about, take note that medium consists of three basic ingredients. First is the pigment, where the paint gets its color. Second is the binder, it holds the pigment in place. And last is the solvent that combined to the binder that allows paint to spread. So, we can say that it is a medium when it includes a binder as the ingredients. Add additives if it does not consist a binder. These are the mediums of art, or the most common materials include pastels, acrylic paint, watercolors, ink, pencils, oil paint, and mixed media. Let's tackle pastel. So, chalk pastels are great for creating textures, binding colors, and layering. This medium in art known as luminous and tinder. The powder used in pastel and chalk is a pigment itself. That is why the color is deep and the effect is stunning. Pastel colors represent neutrally and they are peaceful and soft. Pastels can be easily to blend. Example of the most basic pastel techniques is using oil. It simply use a cotton swab soaked in the baby oil to smooth and blend oil pastel marks on the paper and let it dry overnight. Acrylic paint can dry faster than oil paint and water resistance once dry. So, we all know that acrylic paint forms in two. It may in fluid form and gel form. Example, you can use it like plastering way to result a thick textures or washing like watercolors to create a translucent effect. Artists can deliver their feelings using the different mediums as well in using colors, lines, and shapes. Example of this, when the artist uses a red color, it represents love or anger. In shapes, geometric shapes represents calm, relaxed, proud, or bored. And organic shapes means silly, excite in the areas of lines. Examples of this is the zigzag that represents anger, and many more.
Watercolor. Watercolor have one main characters, they are predictable. Once the paint is already on the paper, it is hard to change the way it is going to disappear. So, example, when we do painting or making artworks by the use of watercolor, it is easily scattered mixed by the other color as well as it is hard to erase, and that is why we should plan before jumping into painting. Ink. Ink is a convenient and affordable art medium. Ink goes in a painting small bottles. Can be used for drawing as well as calligraphy and writing. So ink is very similar to watercolor, yet use various different applications. Pencils. Colored pencils are considered as the medium for all artists. So this is one of the simplest and most efficient means communicating visual ideas. But because of drawing, it is form of the expression and this can be captured in finished pencil drawings. Oil paint is a slower dyeing artistic medium and is made from various pigments mixed with oil such as linseed. So the two main reasons why artists use oil paint is that to make the paint flow better and improve consistency of the paint. Mixed media. The mixed media technique incorporates a combination of media, assembling pencils, paint, crayons, pastels, oil, and other instruments together in the unique way. So mixed media is the artworks with composed from a combination of different media. Conclusion. Art mediums comes in all shapes and sizes. Different art mediums allows artists to teach a particular effect, convey their message, and establish a certain atmosphere in their works.